Conan and Bêlit's romantic getaway in Kairos turns into a night of fun and thievery, but that night quickly turns into a fight for survival. It's all right here in our review of Conan the Barbarian number 18 from Titan Comics. Welcome back to Comical Opinions. This is our review of Conan the Barbarian number 18. But before we dig in, here's a quick recap. When we last left Conan and Bêlit in Conan the Barbarian number 17, the adventuring partners and lovers stopped at a seedy seaport of Kairos for a weekend getaway. One night, their room was invaded by a trio of robbers who assumed the couple was royalty and would have plenty of precious jewels to offer up once their throats were slit. Unfortunately, the robbers met death that night, save for one who offered the plan to steal a precious treasure in exchange for her life. And that brings us to the current issue. In Conan the Barbarian number 18, the romantic getaway turned adventure commences. Conan and Bêlit make a pact with the last thief, a woman by the name of Tarnasha, to steal the treasure and split the spoils in exchange for mutual loyalty to the mission. The next day, they discuss the details. Tarnasha explains that a group of visiting Stygians have come to Kairos to buy an ancient relic from the town's Libridicio, a librarian in an ancient tongue. They don't know what the relic is, but the purchase is scheduled for tonight and it's worth a ton of gold and jewels. To prevent the possibility of a double cross, Bêlit will create a distraction for the guards at the Libridicio's front gate, while Conan and Tarnasha sneak in through a window. On the night of the deal, Bêlit creates a commotion at the front gate by posing as a madam, leading a procession of beautiful dancers and musicians to see the master of the house. The guards don't believe her, but they're willing to entertain the beauties and the wonderful tunes that are keeping them occupied. Meanwhile, Conan and Tarnasha watch the sale of the relic, a dual-pointed dagger called the Fangs of the Serpent, to the visiting Stygians from rafters above the library room. The Libridicio, however, makes it explicitly clear he would be willing to show the relic and entertain offers without a commitment to sell. When the Stygian envoy confirms the dagger is real, he kills the Libridicio and his bodyguards. Conan and Tarnasha drop down from the rafters to confront the Stygians and steal the dagger. Unfortunately for them, the dagger has magical properties, transforming the lead Stygian into a superhumanly strong lizard man, sort of. The Stygian stabs Conan in the gut with the dagger, but before he can deliver the killing blow, Bêlit forces herself into the main library and kills the lizard man with a well-thrown dagger. While Bêlit hastily attends to Conan's wounds, Tarnasha snatches up the dagger and flees. Bêlit vows to kill Tarnasha for her deceit, and the Master of the Black Ring, who is the person that sent the Stygians for the dagger, promises doom to whoever stole it. So the issue ends with the promise of a long-time Conan villain finally making his way into the series. And that's the issue, so let's talk about impressions, art, and all the good stuff. Conan the Barbarian number 18 is I would say, a perfectly fine conclusion to the two-parter depicting Conan and Bêlit on a brief adventure that turns out kind of badly. Is it the best adventure in the series? I would say no, not quite, but it's still one of the better comic series on the market. So for now, that's probably good enough considering the quality of comics that are out there. Let's take a beat and talk about the art for a second. We have guest artist Danica Brine on art duties, and the art style and execution make a pretty decent grade for a Conan story that captures all the visual hallmarks of what you would expect from a Conan adventure. There's some strong action, a touch of the supernatural, right? Because you got this guy turning into this sort of lizard man creature, and some dynamic panels. Brine's style doesn't quite have the same level of detail and masculine and macho power you would normally see from Robert De La Torre or Doug Braithwaite, but it's perfectly good for a light two-parter, and that pretty much sums up this story as a whole. Switching over to positives and negative, what's great about Conan the Barbarian number 18? It caps off the first story in the Titan series that shows two big positives for Conan as a character. First, Jim Zub adds to his Robert E. Howard cred by showing how well Conan and Bêlit work together as lovers and allies. Remember, Bêlit is Conan's greatest love, so to see them working together, their chemistry, how they complement each other, that's a big plus here. Second, the last page sets up the coming of a primary Conan villain to get Robert E. Howard fans excited for the future. Not going to spoil it, but when you say the word Doom, that should give you a pretty big hint about who it is. So what could be better? It's not a perfect two-parter, but let's talk about what could be better. The story titled Fangs and Foolish Thieves reads more like a quick interlude to set up bigger and better stories down the line. It would be unfair to call this story a transition arc, but it lacks some of the meatiness of Zub's prior arcs in the series. It doesn't feel as grim and as serious and as powerful as you would expect a Conan series to be. It's okay, but it's not fantastic. Final thoughts, what do we think about Conan the Barbarian number 18? It brings the two-parter to a close with bloody fights, magic, monsters, and all the mayhem you would expect from a pretty solid Conan story. Jim Zub nails the chemistry between Conan and Bêlit, demonstrating exactly why she is Conan's greatest love. So Jim Zub does a really fantastic job of getting their relationship and producing what you would expect to see in the chemistry and the complementary natures of their characters. Plus, Brian's art here is, I would say, above average. It's okay. It's maybe not as strong as the main artist, but it's pretty darn good. Therefore, Conan the Barbarian number 18 earns a 7.8 out of 10. It's not the strongest arc in the series so far, but it's okay. So you're not going to be coming away from this story dissatisfied, but maybe you're not going to be as impressed as you may have been with the previous arcs. But what do you think? Do you like more stories with Conan and Bêlit acting together as a partnership and a team? Leave a thumbs up if you found this review helpful, and drop a comment below with which longtime Conan villain or maybe sidekick or hero that he normally interacts with you want to see show up in the series next. Also, remember to click on the link in the description to read the written review, check out the variant covers and preview pages, and buy this comic to help support the channel. Your support, of course, is greatly appreciated. And if you're watching on YouTube, please click on that subscribe button down below. So thank you very much for joining, and stay tuned through the outro for more reviews just like this one.